What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. We have a bunch of stuff to talk about today, including the NPDs somewhat. We'll get to that in a minute. We also found out about a couple other fighters going to be joining Dragon Ball Z Fighterz, including one that I thought was pretty cool to see. And then we finally got that Pokemon Go update. So let's get started. Now, the NPD itself, the entire charts and everything, have been delayed currently because there was an issue with counting or something that happened in the background that made them, I assume, have to recount. And we will have more information on that according to sources. We'll have more information on Monday is when they'll release the chart. So it is delayed a few days, 2 business days to be exact. But Nintendo decided to, hey, let's just release a PR statement, a press release to different outlets because, well, Nintendo was very happy with how September worked out for them. See, the Switch took the #1 spot. That's right, it had the best spot against all the consoles, the Xbox One, the PS4. In fact, according to Nintendo, if you add up the Super Nintendo Classic, the 3DS, and the Switch, it actually accounts for 2/3 of the market share in that month. So, according to them, their side took up 2/3 and then 1/3 was left for the PS4 and the Xbox One, which tells me that Destiny 2 did not have as much of an effect as I thought it would, as many thought it would on the market. Of course, there were bundles and that definitely helped the PS4 move, but it seems like more people were interested in finding the Switch and the Super Nintendo Classic. I do think the Super Nintendo Classic definitely had an impact on sales of all systems. In fact, if the Switch wasn't so hard to find and people were buying it whenever it showed up, the Super Nintendo Classic would probably overtake everything. Now I think about it, it might have. We don't know exact numbers. We don't know rankings yet. We just know that the Switch was the best selling out of the Xbox One, the PS4, and then the Switch. Nintendo also gave us a little more information about how many systems are available or have sold, I guess, at this point in the United States. Now, they are telling us numbers. It could be that how many they've shipped to stores. It could be sell-through. I think it might be shipped. Just over 2 million. So they have crossed that 2 million mark in the United States as a whole. And at this point, we know last reporting they did 4.7 million had shipped worldwide, and October 30th, we will know an exact amount up to their 6-month mark of this fiscal year. Their fiscal year started in March, so 6 months past then. We'll know what has happened at that time. That's through August then. So we know it was 4.7 million. There's a lot of speculation, a lot of guessing going on now. People are saying 6 million. Some are saying over 8 million. If I had to take a guess of the number they're going to tell us, I think it's going to be right around, I want to say 7.5 million if I had to take a guess. Because, of course, this will include the Splatoon 2 launch, which I know there was a lot of extra stock that came through because we saw it in the Japan charts. And based on how the United States is charting according to Japan, that would make a lot of sense. And then, of course, we have the rest of the world that needs to kind of throw their numbers in as well. I think 7 to 7.5 million is a pretty conservative number. Again, some people are saying 8, even 8.5 million. They are charting according to them. Their goal was 10 million units sold for this calendar year, and I think they're going to hit that pretty easily. Of course, they also told us 2 million when it first launched in that first month, and they ended up turning in 2.7 million. So they are known to give us conservative numbers and then try to pretty much destroy those numbers as they go forward. I think 7 to 7.5 million is a pretty good number to take a guess at. Now, along with that press release, they gave us a couple of rankings for some of the games that we're going to see when the full rankings come out. We expect, again, Destiny 2 at the top, of course, and then going down from there. However, Nintendo gave us a look into some of their games. Mario Kingdom Battle, for example, number 7. Zelda is still in there at number 10. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe right below at number 11. And then the game that I know a lot of people are concerned about, that they're hoping to see it charting somewhere in the top 10, Metroid Samus Returns on the 3DS, charts at number 8. So I think that's respectable for that game. I think number 8 is okay. It could have done better, but I need to see what's above it. Like I said, I know Destiny 2 is going to take 2 spots. I'm not sure how they'll rank that. They might just rank it as 1. But then they do the multi-plat stuff. We know it's going to be at the top for both PS4 and the Xbox One. I think number 8's fine for Metroid Samus Returns on a system that doesn't get a lot of massive releases anymore. It's going to be this one and then Pokemon. Metroid at number 8, though, not bad. I think that's respectable enough. So the Switch is doing well. It is. We still need to see more from the system going forward because after the first year, the second year is when things are going to get really interesting because that's when I would expect a lot of third-party support to show up, especially if they do what I think they're going to do, which is pretty much go right past the Wii U's lifetime sales numbers in this system's first year total. So probably by next March, we'll find out that it has passed the Wii U's lifetime sales. I don't think that's a stretch of the imagination at all at this point. It's also going to technically depend on what the actual numbers are October 30th when we find those out. Should be interesting. I'll be taking a look over all those numbers because they'll tell us how things like Splatoon 2 sold and any other games as well. So it's going to be interesting. Definitely make sure you stay tuned and subscribe for that because that'll be a lot of fun. Next up, let's talk about the world of VR. I talk about VR a lot. I think there are some steps they still need to take to get the VR out to the mainstream and make it interesting to more people because of how expensive it is. They need something, and it looks like Oculus is at least taking the right steps at this point. They announced that Oculus Go, the headset that's $200, don't need anything else for it to work. It's going to be on the lower end, but still, $200, that's all you need. Not bad. And now it looks like Oculus is going to kind of turn their attention more to getting some games that are only for VR that would make you want to buy one. And it looks like they have now partnered with Respawn to bring a game to Oculus from Respawn, people who are very talented with things like Titanfall 2. They're going to be bringing some kind of game to Oculus in 2019. So at this point, it's anyone's guess what it will be. I think most of us figure it's going to be some kind of shooter because that's kind of what Respawn is very good at right now. Titanfall is a good series, it's a good game. Titanfall 2 is. A lot of people figure, oh, maybe they'll do something with, well, the Titans. Maybe do like a mech first-person shooter style game. Well, it looks like you might not be far off. See, what's very interesting about the announcement teaser that they showed, according to a lot of people, there is Morse code going on in the background that gives us an idea because it does, towards the end of the Morse code say, it is a first-person combat game. Not surprising to anyone. I think first-person games are pretty much what you would want in a VR-style game, a first-person shooter specifically. I'm concerned about how they're going to do movement. That's something we've struggled with VR so far. We see some games where you teleport around. I don't like that idea. I don't like the idea of teleporting around. I'd rather move, but once you start moving an analog stick, well, that kind of breaks really the immersion, I think. So if you do something where you're in a cockpit, makes a ton of sense because you're not moving. The cockpit is part of, say, a mech, and that's moving, right? Not a problem. So I'm going to be curious where they go with this. It's going to be very interesting because they're designing it specifically for Oculus. So to take control, or take advantage, I should say, of any Oculus controllers that they have and the hardware. So good on really Oculus reaching out, getting Respawn to join in and make a game specifically for Oculus because VR needs a push and this might at least help it some. Now let's move into a couple of quick updates on the Nintendo Switch. Number one, Super Meat Boy is apparently going to the Switch this year. It was confirmed on Twitter from Super Meat Boy developers. Sometime this year it's going to show up. We don't know a date yet. Super Meat Boy is a great game. If you have not played it, I don't know why you haven't played it. It's an awesome game. I played it on the PC a while ago when it came out. It's a lot of fun. It's not easy, but it's a good time. It kind of reminds me of the old school platformers that pretty much just kill you over and over again, but you can keep restarting and then you can watch all of your attempts and deaths all at once. It's a lot of fun. According to them, they're also going to do a physical version next year, so that's interesting. I did not see that coming. I thought they would just release the game and then you get it this year. A good way to really lead up to Super Meat Boy Forever. They're going to do their follow-up series. So good game. I would check it out if you haven't played it before. It's coming to the Switch sometime this year. We'll hopefully see a release date soon because we're coming up to the end of the year. Now, we also talked about that update yesterday. I do want to do a clarification. I talked about the video capture yesterday. It is the previous 30 seconds. So you press and hold it, and the last 30 seconds that have gone by are then recorded at 720p, 30 frames per second. It's very odd to have resolution and frame rate like that, although they may be trying to control the file size because the file size is pretty small when you do it that way. Well, a lot of people aren't happy that it's only 30 seconds. And I understand because, well, some people just want to record more time than that. It's also only 4 games. There's a lot of limitations to this. I talked about it yesterday being kind of baby steps, right? I mean, they'll probably get there at some point. This is just the first iteration of video recording on the Switch. That seems to be the case. According to Kotaku UK and sources that have talked to them, it looks like Nintendo is working up to having longer recording times and it just working in several games, probably at one point as we go forward, all games across the board. But again, according to these sources, Nintendo wants to get the recording software, everything set up in games that include their characters first. So of course Mario Odyssey is going to have it. Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle, things like Fire Emblem Warriors, those are the games that they want to get under control right now, and according to their sources, it's ready. If you're a third-party developer, you can include this now. So you can basically build your game game around having video capture built in as well. It's going to be interesting to see how things go when they get past the 30-second mark. They didn't really mention anything about resolution or frame rate. Games like Splatoon run at 60 frames. It's just a little jarring to then record and then post something and it's 30 frames. It might not be the end of the world. It's just odd. I understand there's file size limitations right now, but I hope that they eventually just basically say, hey, look, if you have an SD card, record whatever resolution you want, whatever frame rate you want. It's up to you to get the storage medium. I have no problem with that. But as for timetable, no clue. They're just working on it as they go along. I mean, this update 4.0 dropped just out of nowhere randomly, and hey, look, there's video capture. They could do it again with longer video capture at some point. Who knows? Another odd side effect to that update, which I guess it's not technically a side effect. It's just something that wasn't really reported at the time of it releasing. Wireless USB headsets now work. Yeah, you can plug in headsets in general, USB headsets. Compatibility is kind of spotty right now. People are trying to figure out and they're making lists online. But apparently the PlayStation headset worked, the one that you plug in through USB and it's wireless, that apparently works fine. This is a good step because, of course, otherwise you have to run a cable all the way to the system or you have to use like a Bluetooth one that are kind of few and far between for compatibility. In this case, though, according to a lot of people, most of the USB headsets, especially one you may already have, just work. You just plug it in and it's plug and play. All of a sudden, boom, there it is on the screen and you can play around with the volume up and down. What an interesting twist. Out of nowhere, hey, wireless headsets. You figure you would have advertised that or something, said something. And it seems like a really big deal for a lot of people who maybe have a very large TV. They have a really nice setup in their living room and they want to sit far back without having to run a cable or get one of those weird Bluetooth dongles you gotta plug in, this whole thing. It's very interesting. Good move, obviously. It's good to see. Maybe try out your USB headset, see if it works. Next up, Dragon Ball Fighterz, which is shaping up to be an awesome looking game. I really like the look of it. The fighting style is awesome, and it's easy for people who have never played these type of games to kind of jump in and have some fun. Or if you're just a spectator, it's definitely a lot of fun to watch people play this game if they know what they're doing. Now, according to VJump, which is an interesting article that came out, they talk about a few things. The release date is February 1st in Japan. Now, I remember Xenoverse 2 came out on the Switch, and it was a few weeks later it came out in the United States and everywhere else in the world. So I would expect maybe mid-February at this point. It'll come out in the United States as well and out west. We're still waiting for that release date. We just know right now, February 1st in Japan, it will be coming out. And they also gave us some more information. There's going to be two characters that they announced, Captain Ginyu and Nappa. I love the idea of Nappa. I mean, Captain Ginyu, sure. I love the idea of bringing Nappa out and putting him in the game. He wasn't around much in the series, but he has become a massive joke, obviously, at this point with Team 4-Star. And I love the idea of him being in there. I would really like them to do something with him to kind of do a callback to Team 4-Star's comedy or something fun in there. I would love to see that. But right now, they have added Captain Ginyu and Nappa, and they're also going to be part of the story, apparently. They're going to work that in somehow. So that could be... I love the idea of the original story, by the way, in Dragon Ball Fighterz. I just want to see how they kind of shape this world and maybe come up with something pretty cinematic and really neat. They've already introduced new android, so of course they can do stuff with Captain Ginyu and Nappa in accordance with that, maybe bring him back to life, or who knows at this point. And in our last bit of news, we talked about the Pokemon Go Gen 3 update for a while now, data mining, leaks, everything. Well, it looks like it's finally announced. The Halloween event is happening today. Starts today, 3 p.m. Eastern Time or 12 p.m. noon Pacific Time. It's going to start. You'll have the opportunity to download the update, and then you'll be able to start capturing some of the Gen 3 Pokemon we talked about in the previous videos. They'll also have a special edition Pikachu you can capture that's kind of dressed up in a Halloween outfit. That's good. Like I said, we've just been waiting for the announcement. We knew it was going to show up a week or two before Halloween, about 11 days now before then, and it should be fun. So you can go out and capture some new Pokemon. They also have double candy events, all kinds of fun stuff. So if you're a fan of Pokemon Go, go get ready for the download, because later on this afternoon, you'll be able to capture some Gen 3 Pokemon. That's it for Newswave today, guys. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Let me think about any of the stuff we talked about today, whether it is the NPDs with the Nintendo Switch. Do you see the Nintendo kind of cruising along here throughout Christmas time? Do you think they'll take November? Do you think they'll take December? November's still up in the air to me, because the Xbox One X is launching in November. I don't know how many they're going to provide. I've heard murmurs of something like 600,000 Xbox One X's. I don't think that's enough for them to take the NPDs that month. I could be wrong. maybe that's enough, but it's going to be interesting because we'll have a brand new system out in November, a few weeks from now, and then we'll kind of go from there to see if maybe that new system brings up some hype for the Green Team, and maybe third-party games kind of latch onto there because they're 4K, and who knows at that point. November's going to be interesting. December is going to be the most interesting month because everyone's just going to buy stuff anyway. It's going to come down to supply from Nintendo and I guess bundles or price cuts from either Xbox or PlayStation. Also, let me know what you think about, at this point, Dragon Ball Fighterz. It's coming soon, sometime in February. Do you like the addition of Nappa? I think it's absolutely hilarious to add him. I think it's great because, of course, he'll be able to compete with some of the Super Saiyans and it's going to be interesting to see. I hope they give him some pretty cool abilities. And like I said, he's a comedy character kind of at this point in the community. So kind of poke fun at that. Do something funny just for fun. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good weekend. I'll see you on Monday.